Okay, good afternoon. Let's get started. Training, measurement, and evaluation. We seem to be on a marathon, but yes,
To make.
this is,
You must be having these.
yes,
Yeah,
Ricky.
may
Yes, please.
must, you must be having these measurement evaluation sheets and the matrix. Can we share that? Can we have it
You're
on the
asking me to
screen?
share some sheet.
Yes,
We
measurement
will come
sheets.
to it when we talk about designing tools for evaluation, and I would
Hmm.
want you all to design it yourself. So that would be something that we will do in the next class, Ricky.
Okay.
Okay. So yes, from morning today, we've been talking about various evaluation models, which we'll continue to do. A quick recap of what we have done so far since morning, the best fit models. Kirkpatrick is best for cases focused on understanding training reaction, learning behavior, and results. It works well in simple improvement cases. Phillips ROI model, when financial returns and cost effectiveness are a priority. In such cases, you will use Phillips where it is possible to, and it's a priority for sales or technical skills. Brinkerhoff success case method, it's best for identifying what worked best and learning from failures. It's usually used in leadership or performance focused scenarios. Zero model, it's best for cases where planning and implementation are key. Planning and implementation would mean input and context, such as in technical or detailed training programs. Kaufman's model, better for broader impact evaluation when the training is expected to have an influence beyond the organization, such as the societal focus programs. So each model has its own best things that you can pick from. They have their own focus. Depending on what your organizational goal is, what is your focus, you can use one or more of these models and apply it effectively. So you can choose and pick from the different models. With that, let's continue to talk about the next model, which is Anderson's model learning evaluation. Have you heard of this before? Anybody who's heard of it before? Anderson's model? Anything on the chat? I know Shivani is not,
No, ma'am, new for me.
but others. Okay, so
Not heard of it.
Anderson's, sorry,
Not heard of it.
not heard of it. Okay. So Anderson's model emphasizes the value of learning by focusing on how well training aligns with the organization's strategic priorities and how much it contributes to business success. So, unlike all the traditional models that evaluate mainly participant satisfaction, participants' knowledge, retention, Anderson's model looks deeper into the business impact of learning. It consists of three stages, each of which helps organization determine the effectiveness and strategic alignment of the learning objectives. So let's go through each of these stages. The first stage is determining the current alignment of training. So in this first stage, organization examines how well its training and development initiatives, learning and development initiatives align with the broader strategic goals. The goal is to ensure that learning efforts are designed to address the business priorities. So that's how the alignment should be ideally, and that's what the step checks, ensuring that the outcomes of the training are directly tied to the organization's success. To give you an example, let's assume that there is an organization which has a strategic objective to expand into international markets. Okay, they are now doing well in India and they want to expand into an international market. So here, what should the training programs be focused on? It should focus on skills like, give me, what skills should the trainings focus on?
It can be understanding the market or the climatic conditions in terms of the market there, understanding what works, what does not work, the language situations, because you need to develop that proficiency in language. What are the general norms of, or what we call this political, social environment of that country where we are aspiring to uh, get the things from.
Okay. That's nice. So, yeah, as you rightly said, market entry strategies, cross-cultural communication, international sales techniques, international laws, because you need to be compliant. And if your training is aligned with this strategic goal, employees will be better equipped to drive companies' expansion efforts, ensuring the learning is relevant and it is impactful. So, are we all clear with the first stage? Yes? Okay. If you're on cameras, I will know better. Otherwise, please use chat or emoticons to keep telling me. Otherwise, I'll only look at Shivani's, and if she says yes, I would assume that others have understood. So I would urge the rest of you also to switch on your cameras, or at least let me know through the emoticons or the chat. Okay, thanks for the confirmation, Parag. Let's move on to stage 2, which is using a range of methods to assess and evaluate the contribution of learning. What do we do in this step? Once the alignment with the strategic priorities is established, we know the next stage is to involve, the next stage involves assessing the actual contribution of learning to employee performance and overall business outcomes. Here, organizations use a variety of methods to evaluate the impact of training programs. These methods can include assessments, performance reviews, on-the-job observations, analyzing key business metrics. So going ahead with the same example that we took of an organization which is interested in going to the international market, what could be the range of methods to assess and evaluate the contribution on learning? That's a question for all of you.
Ma'am, is it done after training or before training?
After training.
Okay.
So in the first stage, you've assessed that the training is aligning with the strategic priorities. Now you are checking whether with various methods to evaluate whether the contribution of learning is in the right way. What methods would you use? To give you an example, maybe on the job observation, or it could be, or in this case, because it is international, so you will do a assessment. You will do a quiz to check how much people know about international laws. Or you can do an assessment, a language quiz for people to understand the cultural differences between whichever country the organization want to expand to. So you can give a culture quiz, maybe have a, yeah. So what else can you do?
Ma'am, just connected to this. This kind of training is required generally for higher management.
Training can be, so the example that I'm giving you of an organization expanding to international market, there you, because it's just a hypothetical example, you can choose whether a particular sales team maybe you are targeting so that they go to the international market to expand. You could make your own assumptions because we don't have much clarity in the example I gave you.
Right, ma'am.
Feel free to assume it's your company. you are the boss and you decide to expand to the international markets. So whether you want your training team to be trained first, sorry, sales team to be trained first, how do you want to go forward? It's up to you. But how would you, what are the, so quiz can be one. So how would you measure uh, feedback survey, performance evaluation, assessments
Eh,
is how you would usually measure. So by using a range of evaluation methods, organizations can get a clear picture of how or of whether the learning is translating into a real world performance. So if your team wants to, if you want your team to know about culture of the country that you want to expand with, maybe you do a cooking thing or you ask them to dress up and come, so that you different ways you could, but you need to understand whether they understand you. By doing these various evaluation methods, you will get a clear picture of how learning is translating into real world performance and whether it is positively impacting the business strategy, the business goal. So that comes in the second stage.
I have a
Yes.
question, ma'am.
Yes.
So, ma'am, are we talking about associating the training KPIs with the other department KPIs? Like for HR, it can be Gallup survey so that we can check the temperature of the room, or maybe for training for customer satisfaction, so we can acquire some scores from them. So, are we talking about the same thing?
So it depends. It depends on a range of things that you could do. There are
Yeah.
different stages. So if you see the image on the right, so the emphasis can be on the short-term benefits and the emphasis can be on the long-term benefits. So
Mm.
senior management trust in the learning contribution. How will you check the benefits in the short term? What will you do in the organization requires learning metrics? That's the return on investment. So if it's the long term, return on expectation measures. So in the short term, in the long term, whether in these three stages, I would have come to that next, but we were in the we were in the stage two. So what are the methods that you could do to assess and evaluate the contribution of learning? Whatever team it could be HR. The methods to evaluate will be different depending on the context, depending on the training. That
Depending
differs.
on organization, depending on
m-
industry, right, ma'am?
Say that again, please.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
just
Like depending
to
upon organization and the industry also, it will vary, right?
Yes, yes. Somebody else
Okay,
was
ma'am.
adding something. Go
Thank you,
ahead,
ma'am.
please.
Ma'am, let's take the example of Bikaji Bhujia because that is a very common kind of, and people will be able to, ignite their mind and can come up with the ideas because the unclear business goal we cannot go ahead with, we cannot have discussions. As far as my perception is that, although I don't have any experience in such kind of things, as Hitesh sir has told already, the knowledge and the skills on the basis of geopolitical conditions, socio-economic conditions of that particular country, then foreign language, then the consumption pattern of the people and their idiosyncrasy, their religious faiths, and geographical conditions. All these factors, I think, contribute to in terms of evaluating or assessing how the product will be, going to be accepted over there and will be creating the profit for the business. That is just hypothetical from my side. I think it suits. For example, what I have observed in my, basically those people who prepare gulab jamun in Rajasthan, that's of a very high quality. And when you go to Gujarat, again, it's of a very high quality and it's a much cost oriented. But the same gulab jamun is not consumed of that high quality like desi ghee and pure acha mal. So when it goes to the part of Assams and all, the same gulab jamun they are looking like same, but the content and quality is very very low because the consumption is less over there. And but the profit creation is good enough, is what it is creating in the high competitive market of Rajasthan and Gujarat. So that's the example because it's changing everything, geographical, cultural, languages and all. Not international, but it is kind of international. I hope it works. It may
So
trigger
now
the
I'm craving for jamun and bhujia. But
DP
thank
sir,
you for
gulab jamuns
sharing,
for
DP.
everyone now.
I know. And
DP
hopefully
will
after
sponsor.
India wins today, DP will send us gulab jamuns.
But today we have food
So
on
I
the
would
platter,
prefer.
from roti to
I
gulab
know
jamun
since
and
morning we
mithai.
were talking of chapatis, now it's bhujia and jamun.
Um,
I think
just one
I love
question I
it.
had related to the second stage.
Yes,
Now assessing
yes,
and evaluating the contribution of training before the training intervention, correct?
correct. Did I? Yeah, it is before so that you choose which one to go with. So here, once you determine the current alignment of training with priorities, then you will use a range of methods to check which one would suit this the best.
Is there any established methodology to understand this?
No, depends on what training you do, right? So what is the topic? If it's language, you can choose various things. It
So,
will, there is no particular method that you will choose.
so
It
going by
depends on,
historical data, correct?
yeah, historical data, the topic that you are choosing, what is the need, context, everything. So based on that, you will check. And finally, the stage 3, which is establishing. So the final stage involves tailoring the evaluation approach to the unique needs of the organization. So different organizations may have different priorities, and therefore the evaluation methods and focus areas should be customized accordingly. So this means that you will go with the relevant approach. Okay, so Anderson Value offers a comprehensive approach to the effectiveness by focusing on the strategic alignment of the business impact. So what you see on the screen, the impact can be either short term or long term as well. What is the emphasis in the short term? What is the emphasis on the long term benefits? So senior manager, and you always work in this Anderson's uh, model, you always work with the senior management. You ensure that you have their buy-in. You have, they are equally your partners when you are looking for the learning method, whichever you choose. So you work hand in glove with the business here. Any questions? Any thoughts?
Ma'am, I think some of our group people are working in international environment or international organizations, so they can reflect on in a better way with some example. I would request somebody if can come up and can tell, can share their experiences.
Sure. As we wait for someone to unmute and talk about it, I would want to give one clarity or just a clarification, DP. I just gave you the example of moving to an international market as an example. So it doesn't have to be moving to the international market. It can be anything. That was just an example I used. So I don't want you all to get confused with the model and use it only with expansion to the international market. It can be used in any situation which the organizer, it could be, to give you another example, if somebody, I'm just thinking.
It can be
Let
starting
me,
new vertical also, ma'am.
yes,
Like
why not?
Reliance, Tata, and what they used to do, like Baba
Yes,
Ramdev and all. Earlier,
yes,
what
it
they were
could be.
making, and now the new things are coming up, new services, new products.
Sure, you can. It just depends on the context. So here, if you take that as a context, that could be. Let's assume a non-profit organization might prioritize training that increases volunteer engagement and improves community outreach. So it doesn't have to be just the training. It doesn't have to be corporate. It can be any situation where you're any problem that you're trying to solve for. Any questions? Anybody who wants to share any thoughts, any experience? Otherwise, we can move on. Next is the AEIOU model. AEIOU evaluation model is a framework which is used primarily in the educational and organizational settings to assess the effectiveness of programs or initiatives. It has a very structured approach by focusing on 5 key components: accountability, effectiveness, impact, organizational context, and unanticipated outcomes. So this model helps evaluators not only measure the success of the program, but also understand the broader implications within an organization or an educational system, any place. It's particularly valuable when evaluators want a holistic view of the program's performance. including any unexpected outcome or the result that might have come out. So each component of the model serves as a lens through which the program is assessed. Let's start with accountability. So this component focuses on whether the program or the initiative is fulfilling its stated goals or objectives. It is about ensuring that the resources like time, money, effort invested in the program are being used responsibly and that the program is delivering on its promises. That is what the accountability aspect of it checks. By assessing the accountability, the organization ensures that the program is operating as per its plan. It's as per its plan, and it's also adhering to its commitments. Are we clear on the accountability bit?
Is it about defining the accountabilities prior to the program?
If you are measuring the accountability, you should have it defined beforehand. So you can't, after the training, say that this is the accountability. So here you are trying to, who are all accountable, you should already know who all are accountable for the success of the particular program. To give you an example, let's take a leadership development program. If you have a leadership development program which is to improve managerial skills, to measure accountability, you will track whether the program is providing the planned training modules on time, whether it is within the budget, whether you will check if the participants are uh, acquiring the expected leadership skills as outlined in the program goals, whether all the people who are uh, you'll hold the training department accountable for the admin for accountable for the logistics, whether everything is going as per the plan or not. You will check. The people who are holding accountability will be different. Even if you haven't predefined it, you can still do it, because if I have to check whether it is within the budget, you will know whether if you said that each the whole program is going to cost me 10 rupees, and then you keep checking, and now you are in midway, so you should have spent around 5 or 6 or 7 rupees. So I'm just giving you an example. If you're saying that um, so you're working with a vendor for this program, and the vendor has committed to do 2 interventions every month. So you want to check whether 2 interventions have been done or not. If not, why? So that's the bit that you will check here. Effectiveness is next. Effectiveness examines whether the program is achieving the desired outcomes. In the first one, you're checking whether it was done or not. Here, you are checking whether it is effective or not. It goes beyond whether the program is being delivered. And you are asking whether the program is actually working. Are the participants learning and improving as a result of this initiative? So you understood the difference between accountability and effectiveness? Okay. Next is impact. Impact focuses on the broader effects of the program on the organization or community. It looks at the program's long-term results and how it contributes to broader organizational goals or societal changes. I will not use the same example. I'll use a different one so that you don't get confused with the model and the example. Let me choose a wellness program. For an employee wellness program, how would you measure the impact? The impact might be measured in terms of employee taking less sick days, or morale improvement, or even increased productivity. If the program contributes to better health outcomes for the employees, it might reduce the healthcare costs of the company. So that is the broader impact.
Medical bills.
Sorry?
Medical bills.
Medical bills. Yeah, that's the long term. That's the impact. Okay, then we'll move on to the next one, which is the organizational context. This component assesses how well the program fits within the organization's culture, values, and environment. It looks at whether the program is well supported by leadership, whether it is aligned with the organizational priorities, whether it addresses the needs of the stakeholders. Just thinking what example to give. Let's talk about new project management training. Let's assume that you're doing a project management training. Um, and the organization values collaboration and innovation. The evaluation would consider whether the program encourages collaborative program management, because the organization is, they encourage the values, they talk of collaboration as a value and innovation as a value. So you will want to check whether your program is encouraging the same. If as an organization you have an open door policy and in your program you are talking of something which is totally not meeting the culture of the organization, then there is a mismatch. So you will try to see whether the same objectives, which as an organization as a whole, as a value system, whether the same values are being inculcated in the program that you have. The final is the unanticipated outcomes. So these are the unexpected results of the program. It could be both positive, it could be and negative as well. So these are the outcomes that were not originally part of your program's objectives, but emerged maybe during the course of its implementation. To give you an example, anybody can give me an example for this? We spoke about stakeholders in the last class, where you would never expect, and there could be stakeholders. Here we are talking of the outcomes. Any examples? In the meantime, I'll also think.
Like as an example, we can quote that we are actually intending to work on the certain skill set of behavior element part of it. And just because of that behavioral element part of it, the person is able to develop himself of projecting himself to contribute more towards the organization goals. Can that be an unanticipated outcome?
If you could just
Suppose
maybe
as an
explain it.
example,
Yeah.
we work on the skill element part of it, and
Mhm.
just because of the revelation that skill has helped the person develop himself or herself to a different level, right? Then the person actually does a little more than what was expected out of the participant, and that has yielded into better output for the organization as well.
But that was expected, right? The skill should change was the expected outcome. What is the unexpected outcome out of this?
It can be
Not
negative
that
also.
the
It can be negative
participant
and positive. Yeah.
the participant is not only working on himself or herself but also contributes towards his fellow colleagues development, or probably contributing more for participating more as a team player.
Okay.
Can that be an
Maybe not directly, but it's an indirect way of adding. Okay, sure. Anybody else? Okay. Now,
I
what?
don't know whether this is a proper example or not.
Go ahead.
Sometimes we take HR programs for awareness of some policies of government or any other organizational policies in some sort of actions. So it may develop some negative attitude also in some part of some section of the people.
Hmm.
Suppose if you want to encourage one section of the people, so the other section of the people may get agitated and go against it also. It may awareness may be created in the other section also.
Yeah, that's a good example. You want to do a positive
Should
thing,
not
but
we should not quote negative examples, but I think that is a proper example
sure.
as we face in our organization sometimes.
Yes, that could be a good
Whenever
example.
new policy or yardsticks are delivered into the system, sometimes we get this thing also.
Sure. I think thanks for sharing that. To give you another example, so maybe what if there is a DAI training program on diversity and inclusion?
Yeah.
The company might notice an unanticipated increase in employee engagement and collaboration uh, across departments. The flip side could be that there is resistance from a certain employee group who feel uncomfortable talking about their gender or talking about sensitive topics. So there could be positive and you wouldn't have anticipated maybe. So that could be both. It could be either the outcome could be positive or negative. But yes, so you need to look at both. So the AEIOU evaluation model offers a comprehensive approach to program evaluation by focusing on multiple dimensions. Any questions, any thoughts to share before I move on? Yes, Hitesh.
This AIOU model, does it have to flow in the same sequence?
This is a recommended sequence, but if you already are at a particular point, you can choose. See, this is what they say logically. You first check whether there is a company who are there, whether it is being done or not. But you don't necessarily have to follow the same thing. It's up to you which aspect you want to use. But if you're going by the model, this is the recommended approach.
Because going by the normal trend, like we understand the organization context first, and based on that, define the accountability and then go in. Just a
No,
thought.
this is, you've already done all that. This is post your training. You are trying to see whether the impact is there or not. So many a times this is here. The difference between this model and the other model is this you are trying as after training. So your training, you've already done the check whether they meet the organizational goals or not. Using this model, you are just trying to see whether it is a good fit, whether there are whether there was enough support from the leadership, how well you leverage that. Was there stakeholder support? Was there something you could have done better or not? And end of the day, it's up to you. If you want to change the order, you can definitely do that. There's nobody stopping you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, Shivani.
Before starting this model, you stated that it's a good model. Most of the time, educational organization use it, right? You mentioned it.
Yes.
So can you give me one example, like how it is beneficial for them, for educational institution, maybe colleges, schools, any examples like that?
Anybody here from the education? You are from yourself from an educational institution, Shivani? No.
Ma'am, I have been taking a lot of corporate readiness programs lately because of my work. So that's why I'm asking this.
Anybody here from the field of education in this group? Okay. So let's assume, let's take an example. What should be the example? I'm just thinking. Hmm. Let's assume the school is, okay, come now, you have your hand raised. Let's hear from you.
Uh, no, actually, I don't belong to educational industry.
Okay.
But I have one request because I tried looking on the internet for a AEIOU model with the keyword like training and evaluation model or other thing, but I couldn't find the same acronyms that is given here on the slide. So and I tried different keywords as well. So if later on I need to do research or I'm gonna look forward more into details. So could you please share a link from where we all can, see what exactly model is, what is the history and how it did it come up, other things, just to relate and make understanding.
You should use the textbook for it, Kamna, not internet. Textbook has this model. I think it's on page number 49.
49, ma'am.
Shivani, could you please just take a screenshot and put it on chat box?
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Thank you so much.
You all have the book with you all, don't you? I'm
Yeah,
just
we
curious.
have
Okay.
just to look right now. I mean, yeah.
Okay. So
Thank
this model was given by Keith and Fortune in the year 1992. Maybe with that keyword, if you search, you might be able to find it. But there are different acronyms for AEIOU. I would recommend that you follow the textbook because otherwise you will end up getting confused with the acronym.
True, true. That's why I asked. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, where were we before this? We were talking of educational institute example, how we can use in the field of education.
Sorry to
Oh,
interrupt you here. I'm sorry.
yeah, go ahead, Shivani.
Kamna, I sent one link to you which talks about the same model. So in this slide, you can see like accountability, effectiveness, impact, organization context. and unanticipated outcomes. In this slide, they have given all of this if you want to read more about it. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
No
I'll check.
problem.
Thank you, Shobha.
Sure, thank you. Peer learning helps. Yeah, let's assume that there is a program in the in your school or in the educational. Let's take an example of college where you talk about program which is to enhance. Let's take this as an college.
We
In
are
a college,
taking
yeah, sorry.
we are taking a lot of program on professional skills, like when we are talking about resumes and we're talking about personal branding with the various courses, and at the same time, the soft skills part, the behavioral skills part of it. So we can take
Sure.
that example. It might help
Yeah,
me
let's
also.
use that example. So the objective of the institution is to ensure that their students are ready to join the corporates right after their education gets completed. So there is an educational program that has been in place. You have engaged with a vendor. The vendor has promised that all the 100 students will will clear the campus, and you have a curriculum in place. So now in accountability, you will check whether how many, if the, so let's assume it's a 3 months program. In 3 months program, there are 3, 3, 2, 4, 6, 8, 8, 8, 16 interventions. I'm counting 2 interventions a week. So in 2 months, they're saying there will be 16 interventions. When I say interventions, sessions, they are talking of 16 sessions in 2 months. So you are checking whether in accountability, whether how were all the sessions done? Was it, if they said 90 minutes, did it take 90 minutes, or did they did they close it in 60 minutes, or did they go on for more? So you will check whether whether everything was done as per the plan. Okay, are you with me so far? Next is the effectiveness. You will check whether the students really understood. Did they really understand these how to answer, how to attend interviews? Were there mock interviews done? So you will check how effective they were. Then you will see what is the impact on the college. How many of them got selected during the campus interview? And that was your impact. Then you will see that, and you will also see that it organizational context with 30 or with 90% of them doing. Did your brand improve in the organization, in the college? If you are saying that 95 people were able to clear, 95 students cleared the campus, did it help you change your organizer? It gives you a better standing as a college. People would look forward to come to your college next year, saying that this college people's students soft skills is better. What were the unanticipated outcomes? You realized that you did this training, but then you realized, what did you realize? Unanticipated outcomes. I'm just thinking as I'm speaking, so I might
Ma'am,
be a little.
I will give you one of the
Okay,
realization which
sure.
I got recently. So when I was like engaging with law students over there, which is where they're LLM students, so I realized that they don't need this particular curriculum which was decided by the university at all. They needed some other skill set when we done the training needs analysis. I reported it to the authorities that okay, these people, they are very tech savvy. They know how to make resumes. They know how to do ATS score check and all. I think so. They need much better than that. Maybe some different thing. Maybe how to use the AI prompts. Prompt engineering can be there in their courses, or the tools can be there in their courses. I myself introduced LinkedIn Recruiter rather than just making them understand LinkedIn part of it, so that they can understand the keywords, how to put it, so that they can get the placements early. So that was one of the unanticipated consequences, I believe, ma'am, because that was entirely different. Which we got to know after doing the training needs analysis, which I myself conducted during the start of the training program.
So then that is the unanticipated. Okay, good. So now you have the example. I think you'll be able to relate to it. With that, let's move on, unless anybody else has any question or comments to share. Do we have anything on the chat? No. Okay, let's move on. Wow, success cases. This is a repetition. I've already completed it in the morning, so we will continue to move on. Next is the systematic. Have you heard of this systematic evaluation method? Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Then would you want to talk about it? How do you use it?
Ma'am, it's mostly very similar to what we do in our organization. We, first of all, it's not just about need analysis, but sometimes the various stakeholders have various concerns, and then we establish the training requirements. Like, okay, behavioral part training should be done, or maybe the hard part of training should be done. Then the training needs of the participants at the same time, understanding where they are standing in their own performance journey. Then designing and reviewing what kind of resources should be there, what kind of modules, curriculum should be there, who will be the subject matter expert, what should be the schedule. So all of those decisions we are going to take, of course, while taking care of the environment. It should be a learning kind of environment. It should not have a lot of disturbances. At the same time, there should be some icebreaker activities as well. So the learning shouldn't be a rigorous process for all of them. It should be something where they're soaking in the learnings as well. Evaluation given at the last, but in our organization, we try to do it at most of the levels so that it is more impactful. Uh, of course, there will be at last there will be a summative assessment, and then we'll try to understand how was the impact, what we could learn for the next training programs. But evaluation given over here is at the last, but most of the time we do it at every level. So that
Sure,
is what
thank
we
you
have been
for
doing.
sharing that. We discussed this. I wouldn't spend too much time on it. This is also called as, I think it is given in your book also, systematic approach to training. It's also called as SAT. So it is ensured that your training program, this approach, if you use this approach, it ensures that it's a very sequential, something that we've already discussed. It ensures that the training programs are well planned, it's relevant, it's effective. By following a structured process, organizations can address specific training needs, design and deliver effective training, and also evaluate the impact. Okay. So with that, I will move on to the next one, unless any of you have any questions.
The organizations or trainer need to customize in their own need of context, right, ma'am?
Good.
Thank
This
you.
is just the approach, recommended approach, but you need to customize it. Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on to the next one, which is the system thinking approach. I know it's an overdose of a lot of uh, models and approaches, but maybe what we will do is let's do a couple more and we'll stop at that. The systems thinking approach is a way to understand and address complex issues by looking at the entire system rather than isolating individual parts. So I repeat, systems thinking is a way to understand and address complex issues by looking at the entire overall system than isolating individual parts. So when applied to training evaluation, systems thinking helps in assessing how different elements within the training ecosystem, such as organizational goals, participant experience, content design, and delivery, interact with each other. So there are key aspects of systems thinking, which is uh, a questioning of boundaries. So this involves critically examining the boundaries of the system. It questions what is included, what is excluded from the system being evaluated. In training, this may involve expanding the scope beyond the training event itself to include factors like organizational culture, external influence, or post-training support. Exploring different perspectives. Here, this principle encourages looking at the system from multiple viewpoints to uncover diverse insights. So, for example, different stakeholders like trainers, participants, managers, HR, they may have different experience and priorities regarding training. Systems thinking helps incorporate these varied perspectives into the evaluation. So to give you an example, sales training program systems thinking would include feedback from participants, trainers, sales managers, and even customers. So to ensure that the program is evaluated not just by how well employees learn, but how those skills translated into improved sales performance and customer satisfaction. That because you're taking all the perspectives into picture. Investigating relationship is also a critical part of this approach. Systems thinking places emphasis on the relationship and interactions between different parts of the system. In training evaluation, this means looking at how various factors like design, delivery, engagement, workplace application, they're all interrelated. So how they are interrelated and how they influence the outcome. So that is the investigating relationships. And in this, there are different methodologies when it comes to training evaluation. So if you, I think there are 3 of them given in your textbook, which is SSM, CSH, and VSM. So SSM is a methodology used to address complex soft problems that involve human activities and are often characterized by differing perspectives and objectives. It involves pictures, root definition, conceptual models to explore problem space and develop solutions. Then you have the which one did we discuss? SSM, right? Then you also have the CSH model, CSH, which is a framework, critical system heuristics. It's a framework for critically reflecting on and evaluating the assumptions that underpin the decision making and problem solving. So it emphasizes uncovering power dynamics, values, assumptions. That is, I'm not going in detail about all these. I would recommend you just read it. The last one is VSM, Viable Systems Model. This is a model used to understand and manage complexity within an organization. It describes how different parts of the system need to be structured to remain viable and adapt to changing environments. It emphasizes the need for systems to have a clear role and mechanism for communication, adaptation, and decision making. So by applying the system thinking approach, organizations can conduct more holistic and insightful evaluation of these programs. Methodologies like SSM, CSH, VSM provide frameworks to address these complex issues and helps you get the diverse perspectives to ensure training systems are effective. I think, for this, especially for this one, I would recommend reading the textbook quite a bit because then it will help you understand it. I don't want you all to go into detail of each of these methodologies that I spoke about. But if you know an overview, if you have an overview of these models, I think that should be enough at this point in time. Okay, let's move on. I think I can cover how many more modules. Let me check. I have, we are at action research, right? We have appreciative inquiry and LTM. Maybe I'll just stop at LTM and yeah, 2-3 models more, and then I'll give you all some time to go through and absorb whatever we've learned. Okay, let's move on to the action research approach. Approach seems similar, simple, similar. I don't think again it needs too much of time that we will spend on this. Anybody wants to explain this? Okay, so this approach was given by Kurt Lewin in 1946. And this integrates theory and practice to solve real-world problems. So what Lewin said was, he emphasized collaboration between researchers and practitioners. So he said researchers and practitioners should collaborate and bring about the change while also contributing to the knowledge. And that's why it's called action research project approach. So it's often described as a cyclic process of planning, action, and reflection. So the key stages of Lewin's action research approaches planning. We start with planning. The first stage involves identifying the problem and collaboratively developing a plan of action to address. The plan should be based on a thorough understanding of the problem. It should involve the stakeholders who are directly affected by it. To give you an example, let's assume an organization which is struggling with high employee turnover. Management, HR, even employees for all, for that matter, can collaborate to identify key reasons for turnover. It could be lack of career growth. It could be poor management practice. It could be many. So together they plan the initiatives. Like, what initiatives would you do? Maybe mentorship programs, leadership development programs, some maybe more of team building exercises. So these are some of the initiatives that you could think of. Anyway, so that is the planning stage. Next is the action. This stage involves implementing the planned intervention. So the action is taken to resolve the identified issue. The effects of the action are monitored and recorded. So here, if you going with the same example, if you see employee turnover, then you talk about mentorship program. So the organization might implement a mentorship program and maybe also do a leadership training. So managers receive coaching, employees are paired with mentors who help them with career progression. And as an organization, you closely monitor participation rates, initial employee feedback, so that you do. Okay, that is the action part. Next is the observation. So this is about observing the results of the action and gathering data on its effectiveness. So it involves analyzing the outcomes. So now, going back to our same turnover example, the company collects the data on the turnover rates after implementing the, I think we chose mentorship and leadership program. So surveys and interviews you conduct to check whether employees are more satisfied now, whether it is having the desired effect or not. You observe that. Next is the reflection. Reflection involves analyzing the collected data and assessing whether the intervention was successful. It includes discussion on what worked, what didn't. Maybe it didn't work. Maybe the leadership programs didn't work because participation, you did the program for 30 and only 10 people participated. So then you realize that the reflection just didn't work. We should do something else. So, or you revisit that particular phase. Finally, is the revised action plan. Based on whatever your reflections were, you again do the revised action plan. You make those changes and you start something new. This is the action research approach. So, core principles is participation, iterative cycle, it's cyclic. So, you don't stop. So, it's an iterative cycle. You do practical and theoretical integration, and it's change oriented. So these are the core principles of the Leuven action research model. And it's very flexible also. So it's practical and flexible because it allows organizations to evolve their solutions. So if something didn't go well, you try something else. So if this didn't go well, you try something else. If something goes well, you continue. So this cyclic nature ensures us continuous improvement, making it a powerful tool for organizational change and development. So most of these methods, not all of these methods, they can be used for evaluation also. They are not just training evaluation. So this is an overall, so it could be used for organizational change and development as well. Okay, we'll move on to the appreciative inquiry approach. This is an interesting one. It's a strength-based, positive approach to organizational change and development. Instead of focusing on problem, appreciative inquiry approach seeks to identify what is working well and build on those strengths. So the core of this approach is the 4D model, which is discovery, dream, design, and destiny. Each phase helps organizations uncover their strengths, envision a positive future, and create plans sustainable success. So discovery appreciating the best of what currently exists within the organization. If you have to do it for your training, then you will talk about appreciating what goals, what is the best practice that has happened in your training. It involves uncovering the strengths, successes, peak experience, which is this model similar to? Let me think, let me see if you are all listening to me or zoned out.
Zero.
No. Uncovering strengths, successes, peak experiences. Which other model talks of success?
Success case method.
Sorry?
Is it success case method?
Yes.
How?
Correct. So this is similar, where there they also talk of failures. Here you don't. So here in this, you only talk about strengths, successes, and the peak experiences. So employees and stakeholders are asked to share stories of examples when the organization was its best, or when that training program, what was the best thing that they experienced in any of the training programs. So that's the discovery phase. The dream phase is forward looking and focuses on envisioning what it could be. So from the best practices, you ask someone to think. So it's more of a brainstorming thing when you're coming up with a new program. So you ask people about the discovery, then you move on to dream phase, saying that based on your discovery, if you have to come up with a new program, what would it be? What would it be? So it would be built on the strengths identified in the discovery phase, and it will and you would work together to create a shared vision of the ideal future. So this phase encourages participants or the group to think creatively and boldly about possibilities. This could be an activity within a training program. See, I think that's what I like about most of these models. It gives you the flexibility as well. You could also do it as a part of a training program. It doesn't have to be used as an evaluation model. If you're helping somebody learn something, you could definitely use this approach to teach the group something new, to collaboratively help them learn something, come up with a solution for something that they're going through. So that's the best part. You can have variations that works best for you. Okay, next is the design phase, where you translate the dream into the actionable steps. It involves creating structure, system, and processes that will support the realization of the shared vision. Finally, destiny. The destiny phase is about implementing the changes and sustaining the momentum. It involves putting the plans in the design phase into action and ensuring that the program or the organization remains committed to the positive changes. I think so. Let me give you an example. And because it is we were speaking of the education industry, let's talk about a school which identifies that one of its strengths is strong teacher-student relationship. Okay, so they identify the discovery phase. The school identifies that one of its strengths is its strong teacher-student relationship, which has led to high engagement and well-being. Then the dream, what is the dream? The school community imagines becoming a model institution where every student thrives both academically and emotionally, with a focus on personalized learning. Design, what does the school do? The school develops plan for more personalized learning programs, new student, maybe well-being center. So that's the design. Destiny is the school rolls out the personalized learning and well-being programs with continuous feedback from everybody, like students, teachers, staff, to define these initiatives. There is also a 5D model, which is a little different. I think there's only one change in the 5D model. Definition. So I think there's one addition. I don't know if your textbook has given 4D or your textbook has given 4D, but there's a variation also, which is the 5D model. In the 5D, additional step is definition. It serves as the first phase. So even before discovery, the step that is added is definition. This phase involves clarifying the topic or focus of the inquiry. It sets the scope and determines what the organization or the group wants to inquire into or change. So defining the purpose is crucial, and that's where there is the 5D model. Any questions? Okay, good, because I will go on to the last, which is not there in your syllabus, but this is something we use in Accenture LTM model. It's quite interesting, so I thought I should share that with you all. You will not find this in your book, but you could do some research. Maybe I'll share some materials, but you can do the research yourself. So LTM consists of 8 levels or tiers for evaluation. So all these, they talk about and they organize progressively from the simplest measurement, like learner attendance and satisfaction, to more meaningful assessments of learner transfer and impact. So because of these different levels, it's easier because then you will know which level you can progress for your learning program. You can progress from one level to the other. So the first level is just the attendance. So you know whether the attendance, the second level is activity, when the attendance is the most basic level where organization tracks whether the learners attended the training program or completed, if it is e-learning, whether they completed the e-learning course. The activity level is participation in learning activities is tracked, whether the learners completed the assigned tasks or engaged with the training content. So that is the activity level. Third is the learner perception. This level measures learner satisfaction with their perception of the training. It often includes feedback on the content, delivery, and the trainer effectiveness. Okay, so then there is the knowledge part. So if you see, they are all color coded. So if you see all this still knowledge, they are all focused on learning piece. Okay, then this, at this level, knowledge acquisition is measured. It assesses how well the learners understood the content, whether they can recall and explain information. Then we move on to the fifth level, which is decision making. So now here you start doing and checking whether the learners can apply the knowledge and skills they've gained to make decisions in the real life situations. Are there any instances of them making decisions? Next is task completion. This level evaluates the learner's ability to perform tasks and apply skills in real or simulated environments. It assesses whether the training has prepared them to do their jobs more effectively or not. Final is the level 6, which is transfer to work. So at this level, the focus is on measuring whether learners are transferring their new knowledge to their skills, to their actual performance or not. So here, how we do this is we check. So it is done through observation. It is done through 30, 60, 90, even 6 months, even 1 year. We check whether they are transferring, whether they are doing teach back. So for most of our programs, teach back is important. So we add the element of teach back to our programs, where the participants are urged or encouraged to go and do a teach back to their teams or somebody they want to. Okay, finally, the results or the impact. Here, the level measures the impact of the training on the organizational outcomes such as productivity, quality, sales. Finally, is the return on investment. Financial return, it doesn't also always doesn't have to be financial return unless the Phillips model, unlike the Phillips model, it can be any kind of a return on investment. So, but financial mostly is what people prefer because numbers are the ones that seeks everybody's attention. So how Hilton differs from other models? Hilton is distinct from various traditional models because it emphasizes on learning, transfer, and application, not just knowledge retention and satisfaction. It encourages organizations to go beyond superficial metrics and focus on whether training leads to improved job performance or not. With this, I'll take a pause. I think I will also stop sharing. Okay, now I had one more slide for you all to see before I wanted to stop. So let me bring it up. This is an overview of, I'll share this with you so you don't have to write. So whatever we've discussed today, where it can be used. So I'll stay on this slide till you ask me if you have any questions to ask. I have a small assessment also, which I will give you the link to. Any questions? What I've done is I will paste. I pasted a link to the form. Click on it. It's a small assessment. Are you all able to access the form?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. I'll give you about 5 minutes.
Done, ma'am.
So far, 12 of you have taken, 13 of you have taken it. Course on an average, 35, 40, 35, 40, 30. Most of you scored above 30 with I see 2 of you with 25, but okay, not bad. Anyway, it's not about the marks, it's about how much, just to check your learning. Okay, I'm waiting for a few more. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please things on the chat. I would absolutely love it, Vikram, with open book. We are 26 on call with only 16 of us having completed it. Just take it, you will get the right answer even if it's not. Don't worry about it being right or wrong. I remember I had one more quiz, so maybe for Patrick. I'll share that also just in case you're interested.
Yes, ma'am, please share that.
Sorry?
Yes, ma'am, please share that quiz as well. It was fun.
Yeah, those of you who have completed, I'll give you another one. This is a basic one.
Okay, I'm on it now.
If I stop sharing, then yeah. Let me stop sharing and see if you want to do the other one. It's a lot simpler though. You're still not stuck with 16 now. I see more. Okay, that's good. We've increased to 19 in the first quiz.
Organizational goals and the performance metric.
Did somebody speak? Sorry, I missed that.
Description, features.
Sorry, I'm still not able to follow if somebody's speaking.
I think Rao sir is cheating to get 45 out of 45.
I got less. I got less.
Never mind. It's just to check your knowledge, so no problem. And give me some rest because I think I've been continuously speaking for a long time today. So that gives me my deserved break. The second one is also interesting. You'll have to match. So do that.
Ma'am got 10 out of 10 in the second
Oh,
one.
awesome, Shivani. The second one was better.
Yeah, even though I like that question, the way you have formulated it, where you have matched, we have to match the level also, level 1, 2, 3, 4. Interesting approach. Learn something. I will use it.
I'm glad. Okay, let's see how many have taken the other one. He also has got 10. Hitesh with 9. Okay. This seems to be better. I think most is Parag also got 9. Purushottam is 9. Parag got 10. Purushottam is at 9. So this seems to be the easier one. Okay, with this, let me stop the recording. Any questions any of you have?